All right. Listen up, nerds. We got an alert. This is something I've been calling for a while. I've been calling it since the end of last year. I called it, spoke, or I didn't speak to, posted, comments on Daniel Chang's videos. I did send messages to Alpha Investments. We talked about it a little bit back and forth. He disagreed. He still disagrees. And a bunch of other people disagree with me. And even now, Rudy's putting out videos saying we're in a bull market, but I think he is very wrong, and the evidence I think is very disagreeing as well. You can all look at it on TCG Player. You can all look at it on eBay. We're going to go through a couple things here, but it's going to be kind of short because it's very simple. We're just going to go through the cause, and then the evidence, and then maybe some final thoughts if I have anything else to say. So here is the cause of the current trading card crash. Very similar to the sports card crash of the late 80s, early 90s. Critical mass of product where nothing can hold value anymore, and that oversaturated market where the product is oversaturated due to being a scam. Here's the evidence: stagnation and then sell off. I think this was accelerated by the boom from 2020 to 2021, where the depth of the market was tested and found to be too shallow, when it caused wallet fatigue and the prices couldn't hold. We are now seeing everyone flee this sinking ship because too many scams popped up that made people see just how shallow the trading card market, both primary and secondary, truly is. For the longest time, Magic hid that it was a pay to win gambling scam, but when so many other excessively cynically designed scams show up, buyers begin to see things for what they are. Magic is no better than Pokemon, Yu-Gi-Oh, Fab, MetaZoo, Sorcery, Digimon, Flesh and Blood, Weiss Schwartz, or any other scam copying Magic. They're all the same thing. They're all worthless garbage. I hate to say it, I really do, but it's true. And we are seeing a massive sell-off right now. You can check on TCG Player. Nothing is holding value. Rudy's saying that the prices for the latest MetaZoo set aren't crashing. Okay, well, go look at a first edition Cryptid Nation booster box. Go look at a Nightfall booster box. You think prices for Flesh and Blood are interesting? I mean, no, they're not. They're not back. They're not booming. Uh, it's maybe a few buys, but the prices certainly have not come back. Certainly not back to where people expected. Um, Maybe percentage wise, you could sell now with whatever you had and still actually come out a few percentage points on top. But depending on how long you've been holding those products and how much you paid, it still may not be very worth it. But really, you should probably sell now, because I've been saying for months now, since the end of last year, that I think we're going to see a crash here in the trading card market by the end of 2023. And it's been really evidenced by everything that Magic the Gathering is doing. It is almost single-handedly bringing down its own market. If it weren't even for things like MetaZoo and Flesh and Blood, although I think those are accelerating it too. All these other games that came out, that kind of like in the early 90s when Magic first came out, and there was a bunch of other card games that came out too that tried to copy it, but they didn't get the scam right, and the card games weren't all that fun. They were terribly designed. They were all just trying to rush to capitalize on a new idea, whereas now all of these games have seen Magic for the last 30 years. They know the scam very well. Many of them have been intimately involved with it, and now they're doing their own things. And they're creating games that are still not very fun, if at all fun. I don't think they're fun, but they get the scam right, at least some of it. MetaZoo is very, very strange. God, it's such a weird, and it's so cynical. It's so weird and so cynical, and I really I dislike the design both in terms of gameplay and in terms of like concept, where it's just designed overtly to try and be collectible without first having a precedent for it to be collectible. It's not a good game in the first place. The artwork is amazing. Whoever that artist is that does all the MetaZoo stuff, it's fantastic. But they really, I mean, never mind. I should stop giving MetaZoo ideas. Really, everything is just over inflating this market right now with products that people know how to do the scam now. They know how to make a pay to win game and release certain sets and keep hype up and actually design so that they can more modulate their power creep, although I don't think a lot of them have too good of a concept of that. um, but at least they're trying to. Those are things they're doing intentionally. All of this is being done intentionally, where back in the 90s, all those failed card games that came out, they didn't know what they were doing. They were just trying to design a card game. Maybe some of them had never even seen a Magic card. They just heard about it. But this current market is about to crash, and we're seeing a big sell-off of a ton of product. And again, to go back to the cause here, it's that we've reached this critical mass where there's just too much product out there for anything to hold value long term. Things may not be crashing immediately, like down to zero or anything, or down to distributor prices, but when you try to actually think about handling these assets, there's just too many of them. You can't, like, none of them can be worth anything because none of them can be separated out unless everything is worthless and then maybe only like one or two things actually hold value. Like maybe base set Pokemon and alpha, beta and unlimited Magic, could have like museum value. They have no game value, but you could put them in a museum. They certainly look very nice as art pieces. Um, but otherwise, you try to evaluate like like a Theros booster box or an Eldritch Moon booster box or Throne of Eldraine or Kaldheim. What are any of those products really worth? Because when you ask yourself that, you have to ask, well, what else is out there? Okay, well, there's a whole lot of Yu-Gi-Oh sets. There's a whole lot of Yu-Gi-Oh products. There's so many Pokemon products, I can't count them all. We now have MetaZoo products. There's Flesh and Blood products. Not to mention all of the Magic products. And this is where it really just gets insane, is that it might be one thing if other games were doing this and Magic could sort of differentiate itself, but it's Magic doing it to itself. Okay, the latest set, March of the Machines, has, I'm pretty sure, no less than 5 different types of booster boxes. There's a draft, a set, this new thing called an epilogue. There's a collector booster box, and then there's something else. And then, of course, there's the commander decks, the fat packs, the pre-release kits. Oh, the other booster box was the Jumpstart. Yeah, there's a Jumpstart. There's 5 different booster boxes for March of the Machines. That's crazy. Like, how can any of those even be worth anything? Like, even the collector boxes, which is so, like, that is so ridiculous. I can't believe those are actual, like, I can't believe that the market has been scammed this long by that. They called it a collector box, they priced it high, and they gave you premium products. As soon as I saw that, I knew that it was over. Like, sports cards, serialized, everything special, ooh wow, look at this new thing. Well, too bad there's a million of them. None of this is worth anything. When everything is special, nothing is special. And I don't know why Rudy, or why people like Rudy uh, are so unable to see this right now. Because he in part called it. He was the one for, like a few years ago, who was talking about the sports card crash and worrying about, if we got to the point of serialized cards in Magic. But then when they showed up, he's all excited about it. He's like, no, this is a good sign. It's like, no, it's not. Do you not remember the sports card crash? This is exactly the same thing. And it's not even separated by being a game, because again, Magic isn't a game. They might as well be worthless sports cards. Like, the only value they have is just the artwork, which for now, modern cards are terrible. There is no art value. So at best, I could see the pre-modern frame Magic cards retaining value as art pieces, because they have all the hand painted art and the original frames. Those could be kept as art pieces. Maybe people could, you know, enjoy them as, curiosities. Maybe build cubes out of them or something, and pull them out as the occasional board game. But honestly, when this market crashes and it gets replaced eventually, hopefully by real games, because there are a number of designers out there who, even if they haven't seen my work or Pawn Story Games, they're starting to really click on these ideas. Like, players who are becoming designers now are starting to figure these things out. So hopefully, when this crashes, we'll get things that'll replace them that will never make people look back. There really will be a museum that has a Black Lotus that says, these are all the different ways we got scammed before we discovered real games. There'll be the Pokemon cards, there'll be a Black Lotus, they'll have some original Yu-Gi-Oh cards. I don't think MetaZoo is going to make it to that exhibit, but it'll certainly be a footnote in a textbook somewhere. But yeah, I think everybody should be very, very wary of trading card finances right now. Um, I don't think anything modern holds value or can hold value. And even the old stuff, I know doesn't have value, but I could see certain scenarios where, they still have some kind of like historical value for people. So that's pretty much it. I was going to make another video, actually. I still have to make this other one talking about game design and punishing players, but because that's another topic that I keep seeing other people bring up, and I kind of wanted to do a definitive thing on that. So I'll do that soon, but here's this video. So thank you for listening, and I'll see you in the next one.